welcome in. It's going to be a wild Wednesday. The whole gang is here. It should be a lot of fun. Last night, I know a lot of eyeballs were on ABC TV. Jimmy Kimmel came back and came back firing, by the way. And I thought his best line was they came back and he had this video of President Trump entering Air Force One, and he's going, well, the guy's no talent, plus which he gets no ratings. Boom, right back to Jimmy goes, I got ratings tonight. And you better believe, I haven't seen the numbers. Maybe Joe's got it, but I know Joe Dank, former general manager of 24 and 30, has worked for Nexstar, has worked with Sinclair. The two that have been vehement about not bringing Jimmy back. 20% of the country didn't bring Jimmy back last night. The FCC in cahoots with all of this. So we're good because the original intent of the FCC had nothing to do with content. It had to do with spectrum space and regulating that. So interesting. But Joe Dank will weigh in on all of that. Robo umpires are in next year. I called our umpire, Andy Fletcher, and maybe he's listening because he does a bunch. Maybe he'll text me. I can't figure out if umpires will still make calls on balls and strikes, and then they'll use the technology, which, by the way, it's like 12 different GPS signals. It's the same technology that tennis uses for their line calls. So it's really accurate. It's really good. But that's the technology they will use for the box, right? That you see where the pitch is. And that's what will ultimately be the decider. So the challenge will come. You'll look on that. But is that the challenge? What is a home plate umpire call? Or is it they're going to challenge the technology and the technology will right the ship? I don't know. I'm trying to figure that out. I couldn't find any article that would clarify that. So, Andy Fletcher, if you're listening, text me how that will work because I'm curious. But it's here. It's worked in the minor leagues. It's going to be a part of it all. I'm okay with that. I didn't realize this. 61% of ejections from a Major League Baseball game come from called third strikes. Crazy, but that's what happens. So they're going to right that ship for sure. Still basking in the victory by the Tigers over Arkansas. And you know what happens when you have success? People start to come after you in a good way because people have come after Ryan Silverfield for whatever reason. When he's won so many games, you realize the guy is now 46 wins in 5 1/3 years. In that short period of time, he's already the 4th winningest coach in the history of the school. And by the way, if he wins 8 games this year, they're 4-0. They're going to win 8 games. He will surpass Tommy West. He will become the number 3 winningest coach in the history of the school in 6 years. So, he's linked now. I saw this story. He is linked with Virginia Tech. He is linked with UCLA. I know there's some interest from other areas, considering I'm from Chicago, that Northwestern has, Northwestern would be a perfect spot. Not that I want him running out, because I think he could stay here and become the winningest coach in the history of the school. But Northwestern, brand new stadium, more money than anybody could ever think of, sitting right on the lakefront, their practice facility, which is state of the art. You get a great view of Lake Michigan and the skyline of Chicago. It's an unbelievable place. And you're not going to deal with anybody but top quality student athletes because they do still have standards about admissions. And I think his culture would just be a perfect fit there. Not that I want him to go. And, they're building a brand new stadium, but I think that stadium is smaller than most. I can't believe the Big Ten would allow Northwestern to build only, I think it's a 32,000-seat stadium, which is a lot smaller than I thought, but it'll be state-of-the-art. Anyway, it pays to win. Speaking of which, how about all of the attention that Sutton Smith is getting? So I got to go back. All the way to, I think, the end of the Mike Norvell era. Certainly within the Ryan Silverfield era, when Sutton Smith first arrived. Because remember, there's years that he's had off, and he came and redshirt. So they were saying way back when he first arrived, they go, we got this guy. Maybe when he was a recruit, we got this guy, Sutton Smith. He's from Powder Springs, Georgia. Not many people know about him. He could be better than Kenny Gainwell. Better than Kenny Gainwell, I said? Come on. And then, of course, it was a slow development. But now he has won a national award 3 weeks in a row. He got 2 Paul Horning for the most versatile back in the country, 2 in a row. I've never seen, I've said this before, don't mean to be redundant, but I have never in my life seen a guy win back-to-back national awards from the same agency. That's crazy. But he did with the Paul Horning Award. Then he turns around and he wins the Doak Walker, which, by the way, both he and Greg DeWosier, they're on the watch list for that. You win one of the awards, you're elevating your stock up there for sure to win the Doak. But, man, what a story Sutton Smith has become. All right, while I was gone, Memphis made it official. They signed Tariq Ingram, the kid that was so good at Ryder. A lot of people think he's going to come in and be a bigger factor than you would think. He's maybe the best of the rebounders on the team. We'll see. I think he's 25, so you got physical maturity for sure. So he signed, and farewell again, at least for this year, to Daniel Vieira-Tuck. He leaves the program. This is interesting. It's so tough. It's business. We know it is. And with NIL, it's really business now in college sports. But do you feel sorry for Vieira-Tuck? Because basically, if the Tigers don't sign Ingram, this guy's on the team. But Ingram is really a needed ingredient. And there's some liability on Vieira-Tuck. 2 years now in a row, his transcripts haven't been able to be verified because he went to this academy. And so this is a warning for any star athlete, and a lot of them leave Memphis. In fact, there's now a elite team in Memphis to keep those kids from leaving that play national things. It's a Nike-sponsored elite academy. But if you're a dad or a mom and you're listening to this and you got one of those kids and you're thinking about those academies, definitely check out their academic standards. Because this kid, Vieira-Tuck, it's 2 years now. He's not going to be able to play because he didn't have the transcripts that passed mustard with the NCAA. And so there's some liability on his part. You feel bad for him, but he sort of put himself, and his dad did this too, they put themselves in this position. We got our man here. He comes your way in a minute as we sit in the Family Leisure Studios, and I told you, world's biggest spa sale in full swing. People are going crazy over this because now the spa started under $3,000. The big swim spas, you can get 30% off, and if you get a floor model, it's even cheaper. And the cold plunges, the newest thing, you see, they got them in the store and they put the ice in there. That's very cool looking. They are now under $5,000. You still get the free umbrella if you get a patio set. Swimming pools, clearance going on now because once we get to the end of October, the prices go up. This is the sale to get a pool. Do it now. Just get to I-40 and Wooden Road, walk in, and relax and enjoy the world's biggest spa sale. All of a sudden, times have changed.
It's time for Dennis on Dave. Dennis on Dave. Dennis on Dave.
Welcome to Dennis on Dave.
So you had a headache and
I had a sinus
stuffy
infection.
nose last week.
I still have a sinus infection. But can you not actively promote another job for Ryan Silverfield?
I'm not promoting it.
Oh my God, Joe, back me up on this. You couldn't have painted a more rosy picture of Northwestern. But look at you see the skyline, state-of-the-art stadium. The practice facility is fantastic. Shut up. We don't want Silverfield to go to Northwestern.
I am so glad you're saying that because I thought you were on the group that were running them out of town.
No, I have never said one cross word about him. Never, not once. I'm a big fan of the guy. Loved the game on Saturday. I will admit, I shouldn't admit it, but I will admit that there at the end, when Arkansas was marching down the field and was inevitably going to kick a field goal and win the game, my wife and I went and did something else.
So you did not see the
Ultimately,
the finish?
I did, because we left the game on. We just went to another room and did something else, and then
Who? Oh,
yeah.
Well, I'm glad you're still active.
Hey, 40 years. What can I say? We had to caulk the tub.
Be careful what you say. We may get taken off the air for this.
Yeah, that's going to get us taken off the air. I've said a lot worse. But then we came back in. My wife actually was the first one who came in, and she rewound, and she said, "You're going to want to see this." I walked in, and I went, "Oh, my God, the Tigers won." I couldn't believe it. It was fantastic. Very, very exciting. The last time the Tigers failed to score 20 points was November 19th, 2021.
Tulane.
They have scored 20 or more points in 44 straight games, the longest streak in the country. And
By far, by the way, I think it's Texas Tech, some school
that's
like
right.
that.
Yeah.
And they got like 16. That's it.
Yeah. Is my math right on this?
Oh, it's Miami, maybe.
No. Is my math right on this, that with the SEC going to 9 conference games,
Yes.
it's entirely possible, and you guys may have already been talking about this a lot.
We are going to talk about this today.
But
so you're very timely.
that Arkansas, this could be the last time an SEC team plays at Simmons Bank.
Very,
Ever.
very possible.
I mean,
'Cause
that's
you do
insane.
the math, right? You do the math, and you got 9 games within your conference.
Yep.
Now, because of the rule that all of the 4 Power Fours are going to, you have to play another Power 4 school. That's 10 games. You're down to 2.
Right.
And in the case of Memphis and Arkansas, next year, the Tigers, this was decided before they beat Arkansas. The Tigers were eliminated from the game next year, moved to the year 2030, if they really do. And Arkansas had to lose a game, right? They had their choice. I think it's like southeastern Louisiana that kept that game, and then it came down to Memphis or Tulsa. And they chose to play Tulsa and to bump Memphis. I do think there is a $3 million penalty if they don't play that game in Fayetteville in 2030. I guess we'll have to wait and see.
But that's infallible. The point is that this could be the last time we see an SEC team in Liberty Stadium.
You'll have to give 3-1 probably to get any Power 4 team to come.
I was all set, by the way, on Friday. I was all set to thinking this week I'm going to have to go in Wolo, and I'm going to have to concede that the Packers are better than I thought they were. Because I had a lot of doubts about the Packers. I didn't think that their quarterback was really.
You're not a Jordan Love guy.
No, I'm not a Jordan Love guy. But I
no love for Love.
First couple of weeks, the Packers looked great. I was like, okay, I'm going to have to concede.
Yeah, they looked like a juggernaut, and they looked like a juggernaut until there were 4 minutes left in the game with Cleveland.
And lost to the Browns. They lost to the Browns, who might not win another game this year. The Browns are a horrible football team. I
must say there was a great deal of delight in your voice that I share.
Well, yeah, of course you do. You're a Bears fan. We'll get to that in a minute. But it was not. It was an ugly game. And now, of course, the Packers go to the Cowboys. And Micah Parsons said that sacking his former quarterback, Dak Prescott, would be painful. Yes, for Dak Prescott.
Wait. Did he say it would be? I read the quote. I thought he meant it's going to be painful for Dak.
No, he meant for him emotionally. It'll be painful because Dak was a mentor to him, and it's going to be painful for him when he sacks Dak Prescott, and he will. He absolutely will. We're going to get to the Cowboys in just a second. One of the downsides, on ESPN in the morning, they run First Take like 4 times in a row. They just rerun First Take over and over. And one of the downsides of that is that the news can outstrip the reruns. Because yesterday morning on First Take, they were talking about whether or not the Giants should bench Russell Wilson and put in Jackson Dart. Well,
What-
by the
what
fourth,
was the consensus?
well, everybody knew it was going to happen. It was inevitable that it was going to happen. But by the time they ran first take the fourth time, they'd already reported that the Giants were in fact
okay.
They'd already announced the end of Russell Wilson's career. And rightly so, because I watched a lot of that Giants-Chiefs game, and the Giants made the Chiefs look like a Super Bowl team, which they are not going to be this year. And Wilson looked like he was completely unfamiliar with the sport.
How would you like to be a New York football fan?
Oh, and 6.
You haven't had sniffed a victory.
0-6, and there's no future in any of this. But at least a couple of fans got souvenir footballs.
Here's
for
the
Russell
question:
Wilson.
how much of that was Russell Wilson? How much of that was the offensive line?
Well, a lot of it is the offensive line. That's a big problem. But the spin of he's putting on it is Dart's a lot more mobile than Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson used to be a pretty mobile guy, moving in and out of the pocket. But he's too old. His career's over. Now Jackson Dart gets to get those sacks instead of Russell Wilson. With all the speculation that was going on about Dart getting this start, I saw a guy on ESPN. This hurt. I saw a guy on ESPN saying, I say leave Wilson in for one more week to play the Chargers because the Chargers are a real football team. And then the next week, put Dart in against the Saints because that's a great way to ease him into the NFL.
There's some validity to that.
I know, but as a Saints fan, that was particularly painful when he actually referred to it as a training wheels game. That's what the guy said.
I'm fearful for Jackson Dart's life taking on the Chargers.
Yeah, it's going to be bad. And I had meant to talk about this a long time ago, but when Russell Wilson was in Denver, it was a disaster. But after he left, they said that he had surrounded himself with an atmosphere of toxic positivity. In other words, there were too many people kissing his ass.
Right.
So nobody could tell him that he was doing anything wrong, and that's why he failed there. I felt kind of bad for Jameis Winston because technically he was second on the depth chart for the Giants, but he did not come up in this conversation.
You know why? Because they play rookies and fourth stringers in exhibition games because they don't want to hurt anybody. And Dart looked great in an exhibition game. Now, let's just see what he does in a regular season game. Because he's come in a couple of times, but has he passed the ball? All he's done is come in and run.
Right. Well, we'll see what he can do. He's got the job now, but I did feel bad for Winston because he was just completely ignored. And it was just this steady diet of these stupid morning shows on ESPN. Apparently, all you have to do to be a correspondent on one of the morning shows on ESPN is be willing to wear a stupid hat.
Who are you referring to?
What happened to Cam Newton? Have you seen Cam Newton? He dresses like Edgar Allan Poe.
No, I have not.
He does. He dresses like Edgar Allan Poe. He wears the giant brimmed hat and an ascot, for God's sake, and a pair of these horn-rimmed glasses that look like they're right out of the 19th century.
But you remember him. That's what he's doing.
I remember him looking ridiculous. That's all I thought. I guess you also have to be able to pretend that you don't hate Stephen A. Smith and Pat McAfee if you want to be on one of those shows. I hate both those guys. Baker Mayfield became only the second quarterback to lead fourth quarter comebacks in the first 3 games of a season. Only the second quarterback in history.
There's debate on this because TJ Reeves, who did that game on radio, who's with us every Monday, claims that they did the research, and he's the only one that's ever done that.
I'm glad to hear that because I did some half-assed research trying to find out who was the first guy to do it, and I couldn't find it, so I quit trying.
Well, I had 3, actually. Tannehill with the 20 Titans. Matt Ryan did it with the Falcons in like 15. There was somebody that did it in 14 as well. But they didn't trail in the game. They were tied in the game. So I think trailing, and he did it in the final minute each time, Baker Mayfield.
Yeah, Baker Mayfield is really having an amazing year. And with winning their first 3 games of the year, the Bucs have practically sewn up the NFC South. That's how bad that division is. Because, I mean, the Falcons got hammered by the Panthers because, well, somebody had to win that game.
Right.
And the Saints lost by 31 to the Seahawks.
The Saints are really in
Oh, my God, they're horrible.
Have
they're
they been
so
any
bad.
good? I mean, they haven't been good since Drew Brees and Sean Payton were there.
No, absolutely not. They've been terrible ever since. But at least we had that moment. You know, we had that
you
moment.
did.
Just like, you had your 85 Bears.
No, the Bears went to the Super Bowl under Rex Grossman, for goodness sake, after that.
And lost.
Bad.
Again, in the category of nobody knows anything, everybody on sports on Friday was saying that Dak Prescott had turned a corner. Statistically, he's having the best year of his career. The Cowboys, they're a serious contender. And especially after they beat the Bears, they're really going to be ups.
Can you believe that he could throw 4 picks against a defense that the week before gave up how many points to Detroit? I mean, killed by Detroit. Killed by Detroit.
Yeah.
Terrible defense in the fourth quarter in the first game against Minnesota, and all of a sudden they look like Super Bowl champs against Dallas. Thank you, Dallas, because you just made Caleb Williams a good quarterback. You may be the only team that can do that, but thank you.
If the Bears hang 31 points on you, you have not turned a corner. And now the Cowboys...
It's a bad corner you turned.
Yeah,
so.
And the Cowboys' only remaining elite player, CeeDee Lamb, is out for at least a month.
I know.
They only had one elite player left on that team, and he's out for a month. Congratulations, a great backup quarterback play. I'm sure you've talked about this last couple of days. This weekend, Marcus Mariota not only got the win for the Commanders, he also managed to clobber head coach Dan Quinn. Did you see that?
No.
He ran into Dan Quinn on the sideline. Dan Quinn's a pretty big guy.
Yeah.
But Marcus Mariota is 6'4", 220 pounds, and was wearing pads and a helmet. But to Dan Quinn's credit, he continued to do what he does. He got right back up and kept right on screaming at his players while blood was running down his face after he got hit by his own backup quarterback. Good day for backups. Carson Wentz, I sent you a text about this. I don't know if you talked about it on the air, but Carson Wentz, getting the win for Minnesota, getting the start for Minnesota, became the first quarterback in history to start for 6 different teams in 6 consecutive seasons. That
is an amazing stat. I did not use that. I was
pretty
waiting
damning
for you to use it. Yeah.
No, I wasn't going to be here, so I thought I'd throw that to you. And Matt Jones got a win for the 49ers. Again, I saw one idiot, actually more than one idiot, saying that Daniel Jones for the Colts has a shot at MVP. I've now seen at least 2 guys say this.
They haven't lost the game yet.
They've beaten the Dolphins, the Broncos, and the Titans. Settle down. The Colts, they've beaten 3 crappy teams. They haven't accomplished anything. Maybe they're going to be good, but you were crowing about the Packers last week. The Colts that's not a good resume. And finally, here's something I haven't said in a year and a half of doing this show.
Uh-oh.
In WNBA news, the New York Liberty fired their head coach, Sandy Brondello, after she led the Liberty to the playoffs.
Wait.
That's right.
It's even better than that. 2 years ago, she made the championship game series.
They won the championship.
A year ago, they won the championship.
They won the championship.
So they were in the last 2 championship series, won, make the playoffs this year, and they bounce her?
Yeah, somewhere.
What does that say? Brianna Stewart doesn't like her?
No, what it says is somewhere Tom Thibodeau is nodding sagely because he took the Knicks to the playoffs. He got fired. We're talking about New York sports and what a disaster they are.
They're nuts.
The Liberty fire their coach after he gets them to the playoffs.
They're
she
nuts.
gets them to the playoffs, and their teams are 0-6 in the NFL. So there you go.
Thank you.
Actually covered the WNBA.
I love it. That's so sweet. That's as sweet as Dinstall's candy.
Wait, I got to tell you, I got to say this one thing before you get to the Dental spot. We've had a great late summer for hummingbirds in Midtown. I don't know if you guys have hummingbird feeders.
We do not, but I have seen some, yes.
It's been great.
Yeah.
We the Cooper Young Festival over at our friend Jeff's house, he's got hummingbird feeders up, and he said, here's an interesting note. The smaller hummingbirds are the males. The larger hummingbirds are the females. He said, it's like going to Walmart. Big females, little males.
I got it. Yeah.
There you go.
Very subtle. Very funny. Gosh, you ruined my Dinstall's commercial.
No! Dinstals, they're fantastic. It's
Thank you.
delicious.
So what do you like most about Dinstals?
I love the chocolate-covered strawberries.
See?
They have the fondant. Nobody knows what's in it.
That's exactly right. But now you're living in the past.
I know, the season's
because it's
over.
caramel apple season, and the caramel apples, oh my gosh, you can get them any way you want. They've added from just straight caramel and pecan. I'm kind of a purist. That's my favorite. You can put chocolate on that now. How about this, though? How about Cashew Crunch? A Cashew Crunch caramel apple. That's like the most amazing thing ever. They got it all. And that's what's happening right now. And they dip them fresh every Thursday. So you want to really go tomorrow to get the freshest caramel apple in the history of caramel apples. All you got to do is go to any of the 5, downtown, Collierville, Germantown, where they make them on Pleasant View, my neck of the woods, Laurel Woods. They're dipping the apples tomorrow at Dinstals. We take a break. When we come back, we get down to business with Joe Dank. He's next.
Start your day with Sports 56 Mornings with Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy. Weekday mornings from 7 to 10, right here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
If you're thinking of selling your home, think of me, Sheldon Rosengarten with Marks Bensdorf, because I've got the tools. No, I can't fix anything around the house. Heck, I never even finished my shoe shine kit in high school shop. And if you play golf with me, you'll see why I'm known as the worst golfer in town. And they call me Mr. Three-Putt or Sheldon the Shank. But I have all the tools to get your home sold. I have a highly successful strategic marketing program that can mean the difference in what you make and when. And I'm part of a nationwide relocation network that provides many more transferred buyers coming into our market. Always interview 2 to 3 brokers. Make sure you include me, the bald, bad golfer who people say when you want the job done, call Sheldon. Reach me at 483-0546 or memphisrelocate.com. That's right, my website says it all. memphisrelocate.com, or anytime call me at 483-0546.
It's the Drive into Fall event on now at Gossett Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram Fiat on the Pike. 2025 Dodge Hornet GT. More power and performance than Honda CR-V in both gas and hybrid models. Buy Hornet for $24,252 or $281.98 a month. 2025 Wrangler 2-door Sport. More off-road capability and quicker open-air option than Ford Bronco Outer Banks. $7,036 off MSRP. And bad boy power in 2025 Ram 1500 Tradesman Crew Cab 5.7 box. $11,631 off MSRP or $467.42 a month, plus 1.9% for 72 months available. So drive past the rest and come to the best. Gossett Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram Fiat online. GossettMotorCars.net.
If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motorcars.
Ram 1500 SN 711,999 MSRP 50,710. Wrangler SW 546 086 MSRP 45,540. Hornet GTS 38 460 78 MSRP 32,085. Includes all rebates and incentives. PF 895 excludes tax, title, and license. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through 9/31/25 with approved credit dealer stock only.
Progressive presents Employee of the Month. Small Business Edition. Today's recipient from Terry's Tiny Homes, Terry! Sure, as the only employee of her company, Terry was probably the front runner, but saving money getting personalized discounts with a commercial auto quote from Progressive, well, that gave Terry the edge. Over Terry.
Terry, Terry.
Keep awkwardly chanting your own name, Terry. You deserve it.
Woo!
Be your own Terry. See if you could save in as little as 7 minutes at ProgressiveCommercial.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Discounts not available in all states or situations.
Is your wife asking you to stop eating junk food? Well, we have you covered at Humdinger's. It's quick and it's healthy, and most important, it tastes amazing. With many choices from salmon salad to rainbow trout and grilled asparagus. Come visit us for lunch at Humdinger's, 6300 Poplar Avenue. So good, Coach Penny eats with us weekly. Don't forget, Humdinger's offers full-service catering for weddings, social events, or your corporate lunches. You can call 901-260-8292 to find out more.
Listen each and every Sunday morning at 10 a.m. and join Ottawild Presbyterian Church for worship. Ottawild is a PCUSA church located in Midtown Memphis.
Now back to Wolo and Friends on Sports 56. Here once again is the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin.
Hey, maybe some man will take things over. Hey, let's him loose, hard to swallow. Hey, put you there where things are.
fame can be fleeting, especially in the atmosphere that we now live in, the culture that we have got, the cancel culture, maybe is how we should put it. Interesting last week in terms of broadcasting the FCC, the President of the United States, and free speech. Crazy. I thought Jimmy Kimmel was terrific last night. You study all of this, Joe Denk. You've also worked for Nexstar. You've worked with St. Clair. You actually have been in meetings with the guys that have been involved in the let's take Jimmy Kimmel off because we don't like what he says. Give me your take of all this.
Yes, I have. First and foremost, worked for Nexstar for 11 years. 6 years prior to that, we were in a joint sales agreement with a Sinclair TV station. So yeah, we know the players on this. It's been fascinating to follow for me. And again, I mean, everybody wants to make this, I think, almost oversimplified. Just simply they didn't like what Jimmy Kimmel said, so they tried to take him off of TV. To me, it's a much broader issue. This is really about two things as I look at it. Number one is it's about control, and in this particular case, government control. And then the second thing is it's about consolidation, and that's an ownership issue. And Sinclair and Nexstar's interest in getting involved in all of this is because they have significant matters before the FCC. This FCC has signaled that if you do certain things, they may look favorably on your request. The great example of that was the Paramount deal.
Stephen Colbert.
But again, Colbert was just one small part of that. There's a 60 Minutes piece to that. There's a multi-million-dollar settlement to that. All of that. Again, it's too easy. When these things are so big, that one guy making one joke in late-night TV is not the biggest part of it, is my position.
No, this is governmental control, which then leads to freedom of speech, in my estimation. I got to ask you something, and we haven't talked about this aspect of it, but we know right now Nexstar controls 200 television stations throughout the United States. They want 66 more with this group. How good is that for the best interest of this country? That one group. How many markets would they own?
Well, so let me ask you this: how good is it that one company can have a platform like Facebook and it can be global and it can monopolize advertising dollars because of its ability to have unlimited reach in the marketplace? So why should an owner of a TV station be limited to only reaching 39% of the country? And that's what's at the core of the deal that Nexstar is going to test with the attempted acquisition of Tegna. Because there has been this cap for a long time, and it has been the mission of two companies primarily, and I have familiarity, of course, with both.
Sinclair and Nexstar.
Sinclair and Nexstar has consistently attempted to push the envelope, if you will, to expand and eliminate the cap on ownership, only because their competitive position in the marketplace has been significantly harmed by the new technologies that have emerged, and the new technologies have sucked the advertising dollars out of the marketplaces on both a local and national level, and they're not subject to limited reach.
Well, that's fair enough, because you bring up the Facebook thing, and that's just because they found the perfect thing with a new technology.
Facebook, YouTube.
Right, YouTube is the other
platform.
Right,
Name the platform.
Okay, so that let's go further then. Should there be limitations on those entities then? If you're talking about about a worrisome takeover and control of how information is disseminated, is that bad? Or you think Sinclair or Nexstar, whichever one of them survives, should then become the Facebook or the YouTube of over the air TV?
Well, to your point about trying to limit and to regulate the new technologies, I would just simply say, when is the last time you successfully put toothpaste back in the tube? I mean, that's not going to happen.
Right.
So the question becomes, is there a path forward for free over-the-air broadcast television stations where the competitive playing field can be relatively equalized and they have a chance to survive?
The other aspect that bothers me is that the chairman of the FCC, who just a few years ago talked about how important it was for satire and late night television to be able to do their thing, who now has done a reversal. I don't know if that's at the insistence of the president of the United States or not, but he's threatening more. Look, Trump, upon ABC's reinstatement of Jimmy Kimmel last night, has threatened lawsuits over this. The head of the FCC, Carr, again, who was a champion for free speech, has now done a reversal, a 180 on that notion. What should the FCC role be in all of this? Because if I recall correctly, and I studied this back in the early 1970s when I had to get a first-class engineer's license in order to run a board in Steamboat Springs, Colorado. In order to run a board, you had to actually take an FCC test.
No question.
So the purpose of the FCC was put into place when it was enacted to make sure that the spectrum space was not impeded upon. In other words, if you were Channel 5, you had this space. No one else could take that space. It was regulated by the federal government. Now the federal government is talking about content. What?
Well, to suggest that the federal government has not been involved in content prior to just now is simply to ignore the reality of what has gone on. The purpose for regulation at the Federal Communications Commission level is to coordinate the spectrum. So many things, so many devices utilize spectrum, right? And in the biggest form, radio and television stations needed to have it regulated so that, to your point, four guys could not be trying to blast out on Channel 5 in Memphis. Nobody would get through. Some people would say that should be the limitation of regulation. But the FCC has always had a little bit of mission creep, if you will. They've been involved in content regulations, whether they defined 7 words that you couldn't say on radio, whether they talked about other types of content, whether
educational
it's children's
programming,
television programming, which was educational and informational. I mean, it still is. They require a broadcast television station to run 3 hours per week of children's programming, and for it to be educational and informational and instructional, and that's a difficult term to describe. So. If somebody wanted to say freedom of speech has been attacked, you could have said it with the Children's Television Act. You could do it any time they've imposed advertising restrictions, which they did inside of the children's television programming. When you had to post, when a broadcast television station had to post on the FCC site its hiring practices, how many people it had interviewed, and what type of demographic group the interview pool included, some people would consider that to be a little bit of regulation beyond coordinating the spectrum.
I hear you, but I think there's a great deal of difference between requiring educational programming or putting applications so that you see that there is equal opportunity to censorship. That, personally, to me, is different.
But interestingly, the government did not censor anything. I mean, 2 broadcast groups that run about 70 ABC stations exercised their rights within their affiliation agreement and within their rights under the FCC rules to not take a program from the network, okay? And then the network that owns and operates that particular show elected to
cancel it.
Well,
suspend it.
First they said suspended, and it turns out it was a suspension.
Right.
Now, think about this. Is this the first time in your broadcast career that you ever heard of somebody saying something on the air and getting a 3-week, a 3-day, a 1-week suspension?
No, it's not.
This happens all the time. So
in radio mainly.
Well, but
From
it
DJs
happens in other places.
That take it too far.
Okay, but that's the same example. So, you know, we make these leaps sometimes, and it's simply because of the nature of how this present administration conducts business. that creates this chaotic atmosphere that we're in, and so that every reaction that occurs is always a huge overreaction.
All right, I'm going to ask you a very tough prognostication. Does Sinclair and Nexstar, do they bring Jimmy Kimmel back? ABC has. Do they bring Kimmel back?
Well, I look, at some point they're going to have to, because there are some limitations to how many hours you can preempt of network programming and stay in good stead with the network. ABC has some things that those station groups want, and that's always been the interesting relationship between the network and the affiliated station. In 2 years, ABC has a Super Bowl. Okay, you want to stay in, you want to be a guy with that Super Bowl. There's more Monday Night Football games on, depending on where you're located. The Southeast Conference game at 2:30 in the afternoon right now is a pretty good thing to have as an ABC station. Are you willing to put up with Kimmel and late night to keep that kind of stuff? Those are the things you think about.
Maybe we ought to start a station in St. Louis waiting to get the ABC affiliation, because I don't know what they're going to do.
Well, Sinclair has two monster markets. One is Washington, D.C., which is ironic and amazing in all this. Sinclair owns the D.C. ABC, so Trump can't even watch it now.
Yeah.
And they own St. Louis. Those are two of their biggest markets.
All right, real quick. The Ryder Cup, because it's this Sunday. We've gone too long. We can't do anything else.
Yep.
Big business. Big business. You like the players getting paid or not? Europe's not paying them.
Right. Europe's not paying them. The American players are getting paid $500,000. That includes a $300,000 pass on to charity. The other is a $200,000 stipend, as they call it.
Yeah.
Look, the Ryder Cup's big business. This is NBC pays $55 million a year over a 15-year period, which gives them 8 events. So this is just under a $500 million TV package. Primarily goes to the PGA of America. The tour only gets 20% of this, the PGA Tour. The PGA of America, which is the association for all of the club professionals around the country, they run the Ryder Cup, and they get 80% of the $440 million from TV. Plus the ticket sales.
Plus the ticket sales, which are like, what was it? I saw $1,600 for Friday. $1,600 for a ticket for Friday. Wow.
Look, the face value tickets were $750 a day.
Wow.
And they're currently, as you say, secondary market is somewhere between $1,250 and $1,600 per day.
Here's my sense of it. The players are paid exceedingly well. They are amongst the best paid athletes of anybody on the planet. I think the Europeans have it right. You want to give some of that money to charity? That's terrific. You're talking about a week of your time, 3 days of competition, which, by the way, elevates you to a new place where you can get endorsement money for certain. And you're representing your country. That's called giving back to the game that gave you everything. I think the Americans got it wrong. I cannot think of Patrick Cantlay or Xander Schauffele in the same way anymore. Seriously, I think they're greedy, and I think it was wrong. My friend, thank you. We'll do this again next Wednesday. Tim Doolin on baseball in a minute. This portion of the show has been brought to you by Southern Security. Are you getting the lowest possible rate on your mortgage? At Southern Security, they offer low rates, flexible terms, no PMI, and wait till you check out the service. They are so good, and they've got this new bank that's going to open up in Collierville in just a couple of weeks. You can refinance your current mortgage with the best mortgage lender in the Mid-South. The #1 credit union is voted by all of you the last 6 years. Easy to join. Go to southernsecurity.org or talk to a person at 452-7900. Southern Security is an equal housing lender, federally insured by NCUA. We take a break. Lots going on in baseball. Our Tim Doolin is coming your way next.
You have opinions?
I think it's over.
Of course you do.
I don't think it's that simple.
Everyone does.
I got all the answers.
Hit us up on the Sissy's Log Cabin listener line at 360-8255.
Mercedes-Benz Van Center Memphis has serious vans for serious work. At 4430 American Way, they are the Mid-South source for cargo, passenger, crew vans, and custom chassis. Need one or a full fleet? New or used? They've got it with fleet solutions and custom upfits. Certified techs keep you moving with fast maintenance, repairs, and a large parts inventory. Mercedes-Benz Van Center is your Sprinter Van headquarters, 901-237-9302 or sprintervans.com. Mercedes-Benz Van Center Memphis, part of the Tag Truck Center family, driven to keep you on the road.
I've got him on the line, Marty McNade over at Gossett Volkswagen Germantown. What you got going on over there, McNade?
Randy, I've got 2025 Taos S, $236 a month, and 2025 Jetta Sport, $239 a month.
That's Taos S, $236 a month, and Jetta Sport, $239 a month. What else you got over there at Gossett Volkswagen Germantown?
How about 2025 Atlas Crossport SE, $279 a month? Hey, nobody can beat my deals today.
Plus, you told me earlier, all 2025 Atlas Peak Editions and SEL Atlas, $5,000 off MSRP.
That's right, Randy. Come see me, Marty McNade, at Gossett Volkswagen Germantown, 7420 Winchester Road, or shop online at GossettVWG.com. And remember, your future is what you make it.
All 36 monthly, 7,500 miles, 25 cents excess mileage. Taos S, SMO 56598, MSRP 2711. Jetta SMO 851,138, MSRP 25916. Cross SE 230,120, MSRP 39206. Peak Editions SEL Atlas 3,500 manufacturer rebate, 1,500 constant discount includes all rebates and incentives. Must finance through Volkswagen Credit excludes tax title and license for the Blue Credit dealer stock only. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through 9/30/25.
With Progressive's Name Your Price tool, you get coverage options based on how much you want to pay for car insurance. And then you decide how to spend the rest of your money, because you're in charge. And right now, you're going to pay for groceries. But you decide what groceries. Just keep in mind you're running out of dishwashing soap. But you decide if you're going to buy that soap. Just those dishes won't clean themselves, will they? Remember, with Progressive's Name Your Price tool, we'll help you find coverage at a fair price. And then you're in charge. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Not available in all states. Price and coverage match limited by state law.
Don't miss the 53rd Annual Pink Palace Crafts Fair at Audubon Park, September 26th through the 28th. Bring the whole family and enjoy 3 days of food, live music, and of course, shopping for one-of-a-kind arts and crafts from across the Mid-South. It's a Memphis tradition you don't want to miss. The Pink Palace Crafts Fair, September 26th through the 28th at Audubon Park. Sponsored by First Horizon Foundation, Friends of the Pink Palace, and your friends at Sports 56.
Now back to Wolo and Friends on Sports 56. Here once again is the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin.
We pilot our way across town. We talk baseball with our friend Tim Doolin, and the news is in. RoboCops will be calling balls and strikes. Well, actually, the umpires will call the balls and strikes. I got clarification. Thank you, Eli Savoy. So the umpires make the calls, and then the batter, pitcher, or catcher can challenge immediately, and they go to the robot. Each team gets 2 challenges, but keeps them if they are correct. So if there is a called third strike and it's outside of the box and the catcher or the pitcher tap their helmet or their hat, then they go to the box and they use this bird's eye technology. You like it, you don't like it. It's worked in the minor leagues. How do you feel about it, Tim Doolin?
I like it. I do. I think that it's going to make, to be honest with you, it's going to make the umpires more accountable. It's going to make the choosing of umpires and grading of umpires more accountable, which is, the game's hard enough as it is for both umpires and for players, but you think about a player facing the type of arms they're facing now with the velocity, with the ability to make the ball move laterally and sink and slide. It's very difficult when you go from, say, a 1-1 count and the umpire misses a call, and now it's 1-2 versus being 2-1. Big difference. You can look at all the analytics and the stats from years. Your hitter has a better advantage in a 2-1 count. So I think it's going to be seamless, to be honest with you. And so I'm all for it.
Would you be very you only got 2. So
yeah.
If you're in the third inning on a 1-1 count, are you going to challenge that pitch? You're going to wait, aren't you?
No, I think you are in that light. You are, but also I can assure you that the analytics departments of every team know the players on their roster in the lineup that have that type of an eye that they will give a little bit of grace to versus others. Some guys recognize pitches much better than others. Mookie, he has an unbelievable eye. That's always been one of his tools from the time he was being scouted in high school. So they're going to give veteran players that have a track record of being able to track balls and take balls that he knows is half an inch off the plate or an inch off the plate or high or low. They're going to give those guys a little bit more leeway. However, to your point, yeah, you're not going to waste a bullet when it's not going to give you the advantage. If you're with a man on third with less than 2 outs in the middle of the game, like I just said, it puts you in a 3-1 count versus a 2-2 count. Yeah, you give that player that option because he's going to get a better pitch 3-1.
All right, as we go down the stretch, the American League has really become very interesting. The Cleveland Indians have won 9 of their last 10. The Tigers have lost 9 of their last 10, 7 in a row. They had a 10-game lead when September started. It's now even. Oh, my gosh, what an epic collapse by the Tigers. What the heck has happened there, Tim Doolin?
Well, it's baseball, and it's crazy. We've talked about it probably at some point in time every segment we've had over the last month when we talk about the standings and where everybody at. It's not the best team. It's the team that's playing the best at the time, and here come the Indians. And so
you better say Guardians, or you might get taken off the air on this climate.
The Guardians. I mean, it's crazy because winning is contagious. So is losing, and you run into bad luck. You hope you can break the streak, and you got a guy named Scooble that you thought was going to be that guy every 4th or 5th day. That's going to. There's a W right there.
Oh, did he lose it? What's happened?
And
I
don't know. He's just.
They find they can bunt on him. Is that part of it? I mean, that's what they
Well,
were
I think
doing.
It's I think that's part of it. And then you put more weight on your star because you go through losing streaks. And a combination of probably what you said and what I just mentioned, it adds to the anxiety of him trying to do too much instead of just going out and being himself.
And then you got in the West, Seattle's taken over, won the division. They won 9 of 10, 5 in a row, while the Astros have lost 4 in a row, and they've lost that division. Cal Raleigh's the big story, but what's going on with Seattle, and do you think they will really be a playoff contender? Because you talk about hot, well, both the Guardians and the Mariners are the hot teams.
I think it'd be great for baseball to see Seattle and the Guardians, although the Guardians have been, they've been in the upper echelon of their division for the last 10 years. However, I do think that the complexity of the Mariners team, they have a complete game. They play really good defense. Obviously, with Raleigh having a career year like he's having from a power perspective and run-producing perspective, they've got a good bullpen. They've got good starting pitching. So I think the Mariners are definitely a contender.
And here come the New York Yankees. They've clinched a position in postseason now, but they could win the division. They've won 3 in a row. And the Blue Jays, once sitting really pretty, still have the lead in that division by only 1 game. And what have we got? We've got 5 games left to go. Do the Yankees end up winning that division and Toronto finishing second? What happens there?
I don't know. I think Toronto probably wins the division. However, just thinking as you're talking through this segment, I think it's probably going to be one of the most interesting postseasons that we've had in a while, with new teams surfacing, playing really well consistently over the course of the year. The Yankees, again, on their roller coaster of a season, and now they're kind of back. Their key is going to make sure they can keep Stanton and Judge healthy going into the playoffs, and hope they can get something out of Volpe, who's had a terrible year. So I mean, they're just the Yankees. I mean, that's all you can say.
In the National League, Chicago and San Diego are in for a wild card spot. The Mets are battling with Cincinnati and Arizona to make it in. Do you think the Mets hold on? Do the Reds, who played pretty well, they swept the Cubs last week? Do the Diamondbacks, who've somehow stayed alive in all of this, do they make it? How do you think that plays out?
I don't know. For some reason, every time you mention a team that's managed by Tito, I have to point to those guys. He just knows how to do it, and he's done it everywhere he's been. He did it in Cleveland. He did it in, obviously, Boston, and he's doing it now with really a team that shouldn't be even in the contention, in the conversation. So I'm just going to go out on a limb and say the Reds.
Wow. That is going out on the limb.
Which would be a good story. That would be a good story.
It would be a great story if they were to do it. And like you say, it's the hot team at the end. The Dodgers, San Diego, who wins the West in that one?
I think the Dodgers do. I think one of the critical pieces is Mookie's starting to play better. Obviously, Ohtani is pitching lights out. So when you go into a series and Ohtani can give you 4 or 5 innings, you got to like your chances of winning that game. So I think the Dodgers win that division, and again, it's going to come down to a lot of times you say, the hottest team, which I say all the time, but when you get into the long series, the 7-game series, typically the best team is going to win. And so if the Dodgers get to a 7-game, they're probably going to win.
Would you keep Ohtani as a starter, or would you make him like a major setup guy to come in and calm things down?
No, I think you leave him right where he's at. Let him start. That doesn't mean you don't bring him in a crucial game 6 or 7 to close out a game, but I think they're going to stay with starting him.
What's his pitch count? Do you have any idea? Because here's a guy you want in the batting lineup every time. I
haven't looked lately, but I think he's probably up to 70 pitches, maybe a little bit more. I wouldn't think it's more than 80. But you know what's so crazy about this guy? He's so effective getting outs earlier in the count. He doesn't pitch around contact. He pitches to contact. So he's not going full count on a lot of batters, which is a good thing because it extends. If you're going on pitch count, it extends his number of innings if he can, get through a few innings with a 10-pitch inning.
He's just so smart. I mean, everybody says, well, it's instinctive stuff, and you've got to be pretty smart to do what he's doing.
Oh, no, he's very intelligent. I've talked to Mookie about him, and it's just off the charts what this guy brings to the clubhouse every day, to the field every day, his routine, both from a pitching and hitting perspective. It's so consistent, and I think that's a large part of his culture and the discipline that you mentioned.
I think if we look at this season as a whole, you've got your stars. Judge has played well. You got a new one in Cal Raleigh. Shohei's come back from the injury. He's pitching. He's hitting. And look at these races as they come down the stretch here with so much still undecided with 5 games to go. I'd have to say this was one of the better years for Major League Baseball.
Well, and not to mention, if the Reds get in, you got a rising superstar in Ellie De La Cruz. I mean, so you got, like you just said, you have the whole gamut of superstars playing well, guys coming out having career years, Ohtani coming back, all the above. It's going to be a super, super exciting postseason.
Thank you, Tim. We'll talk next Wednesday.
All right, Wolo, thank you.
That's our man on baseball, that one and only Tim Doolin. He's brought to you by Memphis Public Links, and I know he grew up. I'm playing Galloway, I'm playing Audubon, I'm playing Fox Meadows. But those are not the same golf courses that he used to play because the city of Memphis, thank you, Mickey Barker, thank you, Park Commission, thank you, City Council, they all realized public golf is like a great city amenity. You got to have police, you got to have a fire department, right? But you got to have a park system. You got to have golf courses. That's what makes a city special. And this city embraced that, and the way they fix things, even Overton Park. If you haven't played Overton Park, and many of you out there learned the game right there, it's so different. It's so cool since people that did Sweetens Cove and Chattanooga, they came in, they changed it. It is really a cool thing. And now they got that, if you're learning the game, 6 holes, par 3 at Audubon with a driving range to really learn the game. It's all there. And you go to MemphisPublicLinks.com to make your tee times or learn information. It's so simple. They've made Memphis Public Golf great. Go check it out. That'll do it for us. We're here tomorrow. Full show right then and there. But don't go anywhere because Johnny Radio's right around the corner. Have a great day, everyone.